The trade deadline has come and gone. Giannis did not get traded. John Morant did not get traded. But we did see a couple of players get traded that maybe we weren't expecting. Anthony Davis to the Wizards. Jaren Jackson Jr. to the Jazz. Weird to see those two teams be buyers at the deadline, but this was kind of a weird deadline, so I guess it makes sense. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast. I'm Ronan Gain. Joining me as always, Chris Nambu. Got a lot to get to today. Obviously, trade deadline was yesterday. We didn't get the big piece of pie that we were hoping for in Giannis getting moved, but we got a lot of interesting deals done. The Cavs have made a swing. The Jazz and Wizards are looking towards the future instead of looking towards tanking. The Bulls got made some very interesting moves, and of course we'll have to get to the Knicks. They're our team of the week. They're on an 8-game win streak, so we're going to discuss them too. But before we get into it all, Chris, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm just trying to make sense of what happened, and I think a big part of this that we have to touch on that I'd like to try and keep in my mind as we're going through this news is this is the most fun time of the year. So is free agency. We love the bustle, we love the wheeling and dealing, we love all the moments that we get to see, and we love to speculate, think about like what the team's going to be like and all that. But it is kind of crazy when you think about like how many of these players like their lives are just overturned in such fashion. It was kind of sad, like looking in the Bulls locker room. All these guys have been together for some time, and you know, business wise, we know that's been a problem. But personal wise, like these guys have grown together. Kobe White, for example, he's a guy who's was a child there. He grew up there, essentially, became a man in Chicago. So it's always an interesting perspective when you look at the fact that that's a business of the game, but these are people too, and then it's crazy to see how quickly things change. And 72 hours is when most of these trades happen, and most of these young men are now off to totally different scenarios. But man, I mean, so I don't know where you want to start here because I think this is probably while we didn't get the big news. Sure, we didn't get the Giannis trade, and I think we're all a little relieved to finally be over it, and we won't have to talk about it until the summer because it's just been so draining, especially for Milwaukee fans. I mean, you got to be happy to at least have to be able to avoid that for a few months now. But a lot of teams kind of announce themselves like, what do we think of this roster? What do we think of these young cores? What do we think of our immediate and near future? And it was a really interesting deadline from that perspective, and we got a lot to jump into here.
Yeah, for sure. Just like quickly on Giannis, I feel like this was kind of, well, I mean, from Giannis's reaction after the trade deadline had passed, it was like, yeah, I was just like fucking with you guys this whole time. That's just the way Giannis is, though. And then, just from a team perspective, I guess it was just kind of they put that bit of cheese out there, see who was gonna snap, and they basically got the answer they knew that was already there. There wasn't really a package good enough to get Giannis.
Yeah,
That kind of
yeah.
feels like it is. They wanted to maybe hope that an OKC or a San Antonio would maybe jump at the opportunity to get in ahead of the pack because they're the only two teams really that would have the super enticing packages to offer. So I think that was kind of the ultimate feeling that it felt the way that it went in Milwaukee, and then the Ja one was I don't know if it's interesting or why. I don't really know why that didn't go down. I guess maybe they're expecting to have a better offer in the summer. Maybe they just want to see what happens the rest of the season, where they stand with some of their newer players and things like that. So that's the one that we could keep going. But like, let's just stick on the Grizzlies and let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Well,
Jared
first,
Jackson Jr.
but before we get to the Grizzlies, did Giannis did he get his scrambled eggs, or is this his over easy? Like, what kind of eggs is this? I don't know. But yes, Grizzlies. So, I mean, this is the death of the Grizzlies now. It was a slow death from the moment that Josh started to have those troubles off court. From really the moment that Bane got traded this offseason. It was like, whoa, okay, this is now the moment. And then there's this kind of hope. Do they get some young infusion here? Does Ja have his prove it season? We knew it was tough to thread that needle. And here we are. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the first to be traded. We knew this was happening. Like, we knew this would happen eventually. We knew that the Grizzlies would sell. I think that's not the surprising piece of this. Just on the Grizzlies as a whole, pretty happy that they got the package they did if you're a Grizzlies fan. Like, you know that it would be tough in some of these situations where the league knows you're selling to get full value. And I'm pretty sure they did. I mean, you look at the guys that get back, first of all. I think Walton, I'm a fan. I think Clayton Jr. He's a guy who's going to be a good playmaker. At worst, he's a six man type of player. He's dynamic. He's shown athleticism. His shooting is going to get better. We know that his free throw is shooting over 90%, and he's shown that shooting touch in college. You know he's a big game type of player. I think he's a guy that people can get excited about. Taylor Hendricks, top 10 pick. He's still recovering from that leg injury. He's not quite there yet, but you know that Memphis loves a player like that. He can play at the wing. He can play the big position. You know, he's a very switchable defender. You know, he has that potential to be a kind of a 5-out player kind of guy. And then you get the picks there too. I think they got a really solid package for their franchise player. I mean, Jaren Jackson was that foundation after Ja started to fizzle out. And I think you got what you needed. And that's not always what happens. I mean, look at the Luka trade. Look at the Trae Young trade. I mean, if you wait too long, and I think we'll talk about teams who waited too long. If you wait too long, you don't get it. And they did this at the right time. The opposite end that I think we need to discuss more, though, is the Jazz. I mean, again, I said, like, teams are announcing themselves. The Jazz aren't the most surprising team this deadline, because there's another big surprising one. Hello, Washington Wizards. But the Jazz came out to say, hey, we're ready to compete again. And I don't like, actually, no, I do like I told you so. You know this about me. I told you. I told you. I think things are starting to come together, and they continue to hold on to Lowry. They continue to say, "This is our guy. We think he's gonna be a core piece of this team." We keep saying, "Okay, yeah, whatever. You're gonna wait for the trade," but here they did it, and I think what we need to look at is their team and look at their depth chart, look at their young players, and really think about, are we missing something here? I don't think we are. I think what the league has missed is the jump from Keontae George.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we've missed.
Yeah.
Looking at him now, he's 24 points per game, 6.6 assists, 4 rebounds per game. He's averaging now, this is the important part, 37.7% on his threes, 51.6 from the floor. His problem has been efficiency. His problem has been consistency. Is he a game in, game out? He's going to give you 20 every time? No, but he's given you some pretty high highs. And the difficulty of his shots, we know that he's going running up the court, full length, pull up three. He's taking shots around pick and rolls. If you go under him, he's going to pull up. And that type of shot profile is what always made him such a boomer bust player. And now that he's starting to put that together, I think he's quietly become the guy that they're like, hey, I think we have the pieces if we go in on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's been absolutely fantastic this year, and the best part is they're making this move, but this is very much a move for next season, and like they're just going to be so damn big.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be Keontae George at 6'4", which obviously is not big, but for a point guard, that's pretty good size. Then Ace Bailey's at 6'9", Lowry at 7'1", Jaren Jackson 6'10", Kessler 7'2", and then they're pretty much hoping to add a lottery pick to that. Like,
and don't
this
forget
Jazz team is real.
Filipowski gets run on this team, and he's definitely a key part of their rotation. They're going to be
Isaiah Collier had 22 assists the other night. Like he's another good rotation piece.
He's great. If people have been sleeping, like he's been such a advanced stats darling, and one of those guys everyone's like, okay, well let me see him actually produce that. He's been top 3 ever since he came to the league in assist rate and assist turnover ratio per 36. And now that he's getting minutes, he's a great playmaker, man. So I mean, if you look up and down, like, okay, what's their point guard situation? Like, believe in Keontae. You definitely believe in Collier as here's their solid backup point. Like that's 100% there. The wing rotation is where it gets interesting. Like do you believe in Ace Bailey? I think there's a mixed crowd. I think you believe in some of the shot creation. Is that going to come along? Is he going to be able to fit into this system? And I think you get a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. He's not like a big usage guy. I think there's still room for Ace Bailey to become that, prime, go-to scorer. I think Cody Williams actually looked solid this year. He looks like an NBA player. He looks like a rotation guy. I think you know what you get. They got some pretty solid depth too from guys like Conchar, Vince Williams. So, you look at this as a whole. There's a lot of pieces. There's some big pieces. There's no question about Jared Jackson Jr. market. I mean, the way those two guys are going to play off of each other is just that's just fantastic. You get to play 5 out. Market can play with the ball in his hands. Jared Jackson Jr. can space out for him. Jared can put the ball on the floor. You can run a 3 big lineup. You could space. You can go 5 out with 3 bigs on the floor, and all 3 of them can put the ball on the floor. Like, There's not any team in the league that can do that. I mean, you got the Rockets. You put Steven Adams out there. You put three bigs out there. Not all of them are going to be able to space and also play make. You put Filipowski, you put Markin, you put Jaren Jackson Jr. You got three skilled bigs who are going to rebound the hell out of the ball, who are going to bully smaller players, who are going to space things out, and who could play big rolling actions. It's really interesting, honestly. Like this could be one of the more interesting rosters in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we all kind of sleep on Filipowski a bit. Like he was supposed to be a lottery pick until like there was issues with his personal life that led to that him falling to the Jazz the way he did. So like there's a really talented player there. There's potential there, and that's the super exciting time to be a Utah Jazz fan. Nice to see them making an aggressive move without having to give up anything too valuable in terms of players or picks. The picks they had to give up were pretty kind of low value picks, so like that's nice to be able to get a former defensive player of the year, a guy that is going to be a perennial all defensive player on your team. Like that's huge for them. Like it's not for this year. This year I think they're still going to be happy to be losing. Maybe Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't touch the floor this year. Maybe they shut down Lowry early enough again. But next year this team is going to be out up there and ready to not just fight for a playing spot, but fight for a top 6 seed in the Western Conference.
It's interesting how they're going to play this out because they can't fully tank. They've already really been in trouble. They've been on notice. Lowry's played here and there, and then for Jaren to sit out, I mean they get in trouble. I mean
he has been hurt though, right?
He's been hurt.
Yeah,
he's been hurt. How hurt has he been? That'll be the question. Sam Presti's going to be snitching every week, every game. He's going to be calling the office because the Thunder want that pick. I mean that's the dangerous piece here is if you really can play, there's no excuse, and they got to play. They're going to be good. They're going to be out of the top 8, and we'll see how that goes. But I mean, just looking up and down, I'm really excited for this team. Just looking at how they've done over the season, they're the worst defense in the league on purpose. Obviously, they give up the most threes. They give up highest effective field goal percentage. They're 4th lowest in creating turnovers. They foul the 4th most. I mean, that's what you get when you have young players on the floor. There's so many ways they can get better here. And I think that I'm not going to be surprised if we look and they go from being the worst defense this year to next year, they're going to be within the top 12, top 15 when they start to put a sensible team around here. Now, let's do this little exercise. Are they better? I think we know the teams that they're obviously better than. They're obviously better than the Clippers after what they've done to implode this team. They're obviously better than Are they better than the Warriors? That's the question here.
No, I guess maybe not this year, but yeah, if next
play.
year I think so.
If they play.
Yeah. I mean, probably yeah.
Okay. Are they better than the Blazers?
Yeah.
Are they better than the Mavs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously better than the Grizzlies, a team that jettisoned. Are they better than the Suns?
Yeah.
I mean, I say no.
I'm not sure if it's going to reflect this year, but I think yes.
Yeah, could they be? Could they? I guess my question is more so the thinking about the development that will occur over this point towards the next season. To clarify, because I mean the Suns.
The next like 12 months. Yeah.
The Warriors. I think you still have Steph, and we'll see what KP brings to that team. But I think just canvassing the Western Conference and looking at this, and hey, like, what do the Lakers do this offseason? I don't know. The T-Wolves are probably still going to be there, but I think their view of this, I mean, if you look, I mean, hey, we just made a move that I think we're going to be in contention for that 5th, 6th spot. We'll definitely be a play-in team, but we could try to be a playoff team next year. But yeah, good move for the Jazz. It's good to see them finally doing something here because I think that that this has always been an interesting team to be competitive in the West, and I think they have the chance to be so.
Well, let me just ask you: Are the Utah Jazz going to become your new Memphis Grizzlies?
For Lowry's sake, yeah, I do like a good Keontae Joe. I like their team. Nothing will be like that Grizzlies team, man. Nothing. You know the kind of teams I like. I love a Houston Rockets type team. I love a Dylan Brooks led defense. I think is just what I like. That's what I like. Uh, but yeah, let's stay in the West though. We mentioned the Warriors there. Um, Real quick, they made that trade for KP. What? So this was a return for Kuminga. Kuminga goes to Atlanta. KP goes to the Warriors, and the Warriors now, in the absence of Jimmy Butler, they lose Hield, they lose Kuminga, they lose Butler, and now they look forward to a Kristaps Porzingis who can still not consistently play basketball. Maybe this is more of a fast break question, but what is the expectation for the rest of the season for Steph?
I really don't know. I mean, they just took a swing. I think they were just happy to get rid of Kuminga. I think that's ultimately what this feels like. They knew they couldn't get Giannis. They wanted to get rid of Kuminga, so they made this move. And like obviously, like we've said a billion times over about 100 different players, if they're healthy, oh, maybe this could be something. But Porzingis is just never healthy. He's only played 17 games this year. Still looked pretty good while he's out there, but like he missed 12 of the 19 playoff games when they won the title in Boston. He's missed 55% of games since then. Missed 40 last year, only played 17 this year. I mean, it's just hard to believe that he's going to consistently be out there on the floor.
Yeah, and obviously we could talk about like how interesting this would be. I think that would be the best offensive big Steph has ever played with. We always talk about when Steph has been healthy and really relied upon that, that pick and roll rate when he's running more pick and rolls, when he has a guy that he can actually do that with. I mean, it's some of the best offense in the league. I mean, it's approaching, Jokic and Murray level when he actually has a good big. This is the best big he would play with. Can you just imagine the high pick and pops that they could do with Porzingis? Mm-hmm. That would be just unfair. Mm-hmm. Totally unfair. Like KP, we know that he could really launch from 30 feet. Steph, are you trapping? Are you going over? Now KP's going over. Now you're going to bring from the opposite corner. Like, that would just break defenses. But he just doesn't play. So it would be really cool if he actually plays. And so let's just work off that hypothetical. Kristaps plays. This becomes just a game-breaking pick-and-roll partnership. I just don't think they have the gas. Like, they needed another playmaker. That was kind of the tough piece of this deadline. I think they really needed another guy. Podziemski is just not a high usage playmaker. He's not that's not his ceiling. Yeah. And they need another guy that would have replaced what Jimmy Butler left behind. And the idea that Kuminga was going to do that was already kind of a murky one. So, I mean, hey, if this is Steph's last chance, then give him the chance to do it. Give him a partner who could do it with him. And if it fades out, it fades out. And at least they tried.
Yeah, no, they tried. They kind of just they took a swing, and like it could turn out to be good. Imagine if Porzingis can play, I don't know, 20 games between now and the end of the season. Like I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they could like challenge a Phoenix who they made a great comeback on last night, or a Lakers to maybe squeeze into that 6th seed. I wouldn't rule it out, because at least we know they have a great defense, and Porzingis would only add to that, and he would help them to retain their great offense when Steph is on the floor. So like there's a world where it turns into something. I just don't believe like in a playoff setting that they've got enough juice to be able to really make any noise.
Yeah. What coast do we stay on here? Got a lot to go.
I mean, I guess let's stay in the West for now. Another kind of quick one. Kennard to the Lakers. Low risk, potentially fine reward. Like, he's a real shooter. That's kind of it.
Sorry, I don't know if you were talking about Luke Kennard, second in career 3-point percentage in league history behind Steve Kerr. I don't know if that was the Luke Kennard you were talking about. But the Luke Kennard I'm talking about is the guy who's leading the league in 3-point percentage currently, going to the team that is currently bottom 10 in 3-pointers made and 3-point percentage. I think it's a pretty big get. How often are we seeing a LeBron, a Luka get in the paint, kick out to a pretty mediocre shooter, and the defense is like, Rui, So I mean, it's guys that they need more shooting gravity, and Kennard brings it to them. I think that'll open up a little bit more spacing and allow them to have more driving lanes. And he's at least another guy that they need to be attached to. And it was a pretty uh, low buy. So
Yeah.
for a big need they have, I think it was a good get.
Yeah, he's gonna have to increase his volume though. He's actually surprisingly
Yeah,
sort of
pretty
low
low.
volume. He's gonna have
1.6
to
million.
he's gonna have to increase that big time if he's really gonna make the difference that the Lakers kind of desperately need him to make. But yeah, no, I mean, right call for them. I mean, they needed a shooter. Almost like obviously we were talking about how their need for defense and stuff as well, but like the shooting has been a big problem for him as well. So getting in a sharpshooter like him, like it was a smart move.
Yeah. Just so we don't leave them behind, I wanna touch on Kuminga because I mean this is a really unceremonious end. I mean the fitting end I think to his time there. It's been well documented. We've talked about it a lot here, and let's just think about the future. I mean, what is his role really in Atlanta? That it's really interesting because I think that you look at a guy like Jalen Johnson, and that's the pinnacle of what you thought a Kuminga could be. You know, a playmaking wing. He could put the ball on the floor. He could also shoot. He could be a screener. He could drive. You know, he could be a baseline cutter. Just kind of do all these sorts of things that a big playmaking wing could do. And is he just kind of a repeatable role when you have Jalen Johnson go to the bench, bring in Kuminga, he can kind of fill in that similar role. What do you do about Ricochet's minutes? I think that Ricochet is a better defender than him. Kispert's not having a great year from three, but more reliable shooter. I think you'd rather have Kispert, a guy like him at least. Now, especially that you've lost Kennard, rather have a guy like him next to Jalen Johnson to space the floor. There's definitely some questions about what Kuminga's fit will be like. I think Hield's fit will be a lot more clear, but it's not gonna be necessarily the most hand in glove type of fit that you would expect here in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's fair. I think I guess this is a good time for him to go to a team like Atlanta where as much as they have an idea about themselves that they're gonna make a push to like hopefully get the top seed in the play-in in the Eastern Conference, but it's also not a year where they absolutely are like under a lot of pressure to go and win and make sure they absolutely are a playoff team or anything like that. So I feel like that maybe is a good time. Then he'll have opportunities to try and find his place and try and be able to make mistakes. I think this was probably a good time for him to come to a team like Atlanta.
Yeah, that's fair. Should we talk about teams who did nothing?
But we got to quickly just stay in LA. We got to quickly talk about them effectively blowing it up. They trade Zubox to the Pacers. Obviously, Harden has gone to the Cavaliers. Important note is that they don't have full control over their first round pick until 2030. So it's kind of interesting to see them kind of just selling off pieces right now.
Okay, yeah, that's a good place. I really can't wrap my head around it, except for one thing. Right now, Harden has a player option next year. You don't know what things are going to end up being like. You don't have your pick. You're kind of just fighting. I mean, what do we care about as fans? We don't want OKC to get the pick. What do they care about? They care about their future right now. They don't know that getting to 500 in the middle of the season is nice. But I think as we talked about, yes, they're a dark horse. They're a dark horse for a reason. We don't think that Harden is going to ultimately be able to sustain this throughout the playoffs. Mm-hmm. We have not seen Kawhi do that either. It's really cool that they've had such a great run in the last 20 games, but how sustainable is that? And what's the next move? What's the next generation? Where's that coming from? Well, it's not coming from picks because you don't have it. It's going to OKC whether you like it or not. It just depends how high it goes. So, I mean, it's not really their business. If OKC gets another pick, sucks for everybody else, but hey, we're screwed either way. So why don't we just try and get something out of it? So, I mean, they walk away with this with the guy in Garland who, I mean, is there a better buy low candidate in the league? A young all-star point guard who's probably going to give you 20 and 10 for the rest of his career if his toe figures itself out. I mean, I don't know, man. The toe thing is weird. There's really no precedent for it, and we don't really know where this goes. my small brain would think that a toe, if you just give him the season to figure it out, should get better. You still have a somewhat unproven prospect in in
Matherin.
in Matherin. There's too many names to keep hold of here in my again small brain. But I mean, Matherin, you would think that we were excited that this would be his year to really have this be his team, quote unquote, and how, hey, maybe he'll be so good it'll be kind of a weird transition back to Halliburton's team and how he fits into that. But they've still played Pacers basketball, which is good. So it's still their brand of basketball, and he's still not really taking that leap. How good is he? Well, all right, maybe the Clippers figure that out. So it's somewhat like buying damaged goods. And they can at least go into this offseason saying, hey, we got a, for sure, 20 and 10 guard. We have at least a solid 6-man / starting level scoring wing. Is the defense going to be there? Does he get more efficient? Hey, maybe he does. Wings take longer to develop. Maybe in his 6th year, it's like, oh, hey, Matherin's figured it out, and now he's like this really efficient scoring wing, playing better defense. Now you got a pretty solid duo. Maybe by that time you start getting some picks in. So at least they have some sort of future. You can talk yourself into that future alongside two young guys. But they literally had no other young talent, man. Like nothing to speak of, and they wouldn't have any real talent like that for some time. So Harden's still having a good run, but you knew it wasn't going anywhere. I think that when you look at it, it's probably the best move that they could have done.
Yeah, that's fair. And I just want to ask, do you think that no one would have wanted Kawhi anyway, or the fact that this kind of investigation is still hanging over his head is why they kept him?
It's yes. The answer is yes. Yes. I mean, there's too much going on. It's too, you don't know the volatility of that situation. You do know the volatility of his health. And I mean, yeah, it's great, man. I'd love to see him play like an MVP, man, because he is. But how long does it last? Mm-hmm. No one's willing to take on that risk. And he'll play out his days as a Clipper. It'll bring them very little joy. But I don't know what he does though here, Matt. That's the curious part is, what does Kawhi play for?
Yeah.
What does Kawhi play for? It's been a big question mark the last few years, and you can always say it's just the injury, but he's always really just kind of protected his health. Not really played through much. What does he play for, especially now?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think this will happen. I'm sure he'll want to get paid for that final year of his contract next year. But if he just wanted to retire in the summer, I don't think it would be the craziest thing in the world, to be honest.
I would not. Yeah, especially what if this thing really goes down as confirmed, and does he get banned for a year? The Clipper. I mean, what else are you going to take from the Clippers? There's not a lot left for them to get taken. But that is definitely looming over them.
Yeah, for sure. And then, one very interesting move that was made was the Oklahoma City Thunder buying low on Mr. Jared McCain. Very, very interesting move.
Okay. I don't know if you nominated one. I would like to nominate this as the most disappointing trade of the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, what this is Jared McCain is a luxury tax victim. And to duck under the tax, Daryl Morey gets rid of a promising guard that showed you flashes of a guy who could space the floor, is a dynamic shooter, he's a patient driver, really could be a 3-level scorer. And the only thing was his size, but hey, he's actually a little tenacious on defense. He's not a complete negative. He's not some Rob Dillingham level small guard. That's that kind of guy you sacrificed to the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? And the ironic piece is that they gave up on Isaiah Joe. He goes over there. He's a pretty consistent sharpshooter for the Thunder now. So in the saga of talented guards going to Oklahoma, I don't love this, man. I don't love the look. I don't love the idea of this Oklahoma City Thunder team who this year has struggled at a lot of stretches over the last 20 games now of finding consistent shooting from the perimeter. And you give him a guy like Jared McCain, let him cook. What kind of guy is that going to be for them as they start to consolidate their roster in the next few years? if I'm the Thunder, I'm looking at him being like, hey, let's develop that and see if he, we love Jalen Williams. We love what he brings. He's not always going to be that dead-eye shooter. Who is? Who's also going to be able to play make? Hey, that role is there for Jared McCain. I mean, it's there. It's there for the taking, and I think that he's going to thrive in that environment. They'll make a lot of fun TikToks. He's going to make a lot of shots for that team, and I think people are going to be very upset at Daryl Morey for the purpose of ownership, for the purpose of the tax, which, to be fair, does multiply per year. Every year you're in the tax, the next year it gets harder. You pay more, but man, that's a lot. That's a lot to pay off.
No, I mean, this is the most intriguing move and also the most disappointing move at the same time. Most intriguing to see him go over to OKC. Can he reestablish himself in the league? And maybe he doesn't completely break through it. Maybe he's just a role guy at OKC, but maybe people see the talent in him, and then when it's time for him to get a big deal, maybe someone else is willing to take a shot at him and hope he's going to be one of the better players in his roster. And then obviously we seeing the 76ers give up on him so quickly. I guess that's them setting their stall out. They know that they're still trying to win with Joel Embiid. So, I mean, I guess that's a good sign. But, yeah, it's a real tough one. But I'm super excited to see. Obviously, we know he's really struggled this year. Hasn't fully recovered from that injury from last year. So it's going to be interesting to see him fill in OKC, see what sort of minutes he gets to play, and see if he can maybe it's just a new environment that he needs to kind of get back in the flow and being on a team where there's a lot less drama.
Yeah, I think you look at the Thunder, man. It's so fascinating that they've done such a good job of insulating themselves from this cap hell that all these teams are facing, and it's such a perfect situation they're in. They may run into the future where, hey, we can't pay all three of Shea, Chet, and Jalen. Well, I mean, it's kind of tough to say that you would do that when you got your AJ Mitchells. Hey, maybe Jared McCain starts to develop. He's there. Hey, we just got this lottery pick from the Clippers. That guy looks pretty good too. That they have so many resources. Not even to talk about their rookie this year. They're big. Thomas Sorber out with ACL surgery. Maybe next year he starts to look good. They got him in the incubator. They got Nikola Topic in the incubator. You just got a lot of options here, and enough so where like a guy like Ousmane Dieng, who I think is still a talented guy, just didn't get enough run here. Like they could just let go of that because they have so many resources. And I think we're starting to see the real purpose of that was not to have so many shots at the guy. The real purpose that they amassed all of these assets is that they have their MVP. They have Shea. They got a couple guys around it, but now they'll never be wanting for building talent into the future because they'll just have those in the wings, on and on and on. They'll be able to make these little trades for guys like Jared McCain, and it's got to stop.
It does.
They need to be stopped.
It is definitely getting scary. Okay, last team I want to touch on in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Dosunmu, is he going to fill that point guard hole that they've been craving?
Yes. I think the major hole that's been gaping here for the T-Wolves. Yes, the Mike Conley decline has been tough, but also, to give Ant credit, he's been a fantastic playmaker this season.
Mm-hmm.
He's been great. I think to be the de facto playmaker has actually been really good for him. He's shown that he's still maintained efficiency. He's still making the right moves. He's still making the right reads. And that's been good for him. The big hole is Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Mm. And that guy, man, I mean, that guy's just balling. Well, you could shout him out every single pod, man. He's been balling. But what do they need? They need a guy who's a secondary, tertiary playmaker, who's going to make corner threes, who's going to be a willing shooter, who's going to be able to defend 1 through 3, who's going to run, who's going to rebound, do all the little things, effort player, jump on loose balls. I mean, that's that kind of guy. And Ayo Dosunmu is all of that. All of that. This guy is exactly what they needed. And for the Bulls side, it's tough to see that the Wolves got exactly what they needed, and you don't get a whole lot back for it. But I'm happy for the Wolves to get a player like him because he's going to fit there perfectly, and I'm happy for Ayo because, I mean, he's going to be this player for a while, I think. And to have him be in that system next to Anthony Edwards, they're going to compete in the playoff series together. He's going to be a fan favorite there. They're going to absolutely love Ayo. It's a perfect fit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting. Like the Timberwolves are being really touted as a team that were really aggressively trying to pursue a move for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Obviously, that was never going to transition into actually happening. So they make a low stakes move when they get off of Conley. I think that really helped them out financially, getting off his contract. They've kind of moved on from Dillingham, who was kind of their last major swing that was meant to be fill the point guard slot. So yeah, interesting move from the Wolves, and like looking forward to seeing how they finish out the year, because they're still a team that can rise up in these rankings. They have a team that can really kind of push your Denvers and your Spurs to kind of fill that next spot after OKC. So it's going to be interesting to see what sort of impact he can have right off the bat.
Yeah. Should we, on that note, jump over to my Bulls?
Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's talk.
Listen, man.
Guard heaven. Every guard in the world plays for Chicago.
I was thinking about what we needed, and trading guards for guards and then getting an extra guard was not what I thought was on the menu. But man, first of all, just like again on the personal side of it, so cool to see a guy like Dosunmu become the player he was, a hometown player. You know, he started out filling in for Lonzo. I mean, the moments that he had, you know, Lonzo goes down, it's like things are starting to go downhill. Who's this second round pick? This Chicago kid. Absolutely amazing the way he filled in there and just has turned himself into a two-way player. To see that, it's cool. Sucks to see him go. Same thing for Kobe. I mean, think about where he came in. He came in, second player drafted after Lowry. You're still going through the pains of rebuilding. And he was just year after year. People were disappointing, not really growing, still doesn't quite have it. And then you look over it, and it's just, you know, envy is the thief of contentment, happiness, whatever you want to say. Everyone looked at Ja, Garland's, Zion, RJ, even looking at like Hunter, Jarrett Culver, and he turned into nothing. Even Hero, that whole draft is stacked, and Kobe just he was a late bloomer. But dude, like he's bloomed the last few years, and he's become a great player, man. Great player, and just a testament to player development. You can't be more patient with these guys. Mm-hmm. But for him to go again for not a lot, tough to see. I said about it earlier. Trading Jaren Jackson Jr. hurts for the Grizzlies, but they traded him at the right time. They traded him when they're going to get good value. This is not the right time, and you waited too long. You waited too long on these players. They're approaching free agency. You know, they would have had more value last year. They would have had more value. You know, if you look at a trade like Vooch, he would have had more value before. And Vooch, I mean, dude, like, this is not meant as an insult, but he's just been the foundation of mediocrity for us. And a lot of teams, when you are as dysfunctional as you are, you tend to accidentally tank at times. You can't tank with a guy like Vooch. Like, he is just so solid. He's such a good playmaker, and excited for him to see what he does on the Celtics. But just it's very surreal to look at this team that has done nothing and to see how much nothing it feels like they still did.
Yeah, I mean, like, for like paint the broader picture, obviously, two of the Bulls get in: Jaden Ivey, Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton, Rob Dillingham, Yabusele. Who they get rid of? Vucevic, White, Dosunmu, Heurter. Yeah, it's just, you're kind of just like, what the hell are you doing, Chicago? Maybe it will start to make more sense as we move forward. But I was watching NBA Today, reacting to this yesterday, and they're basically just like, yeah, they're gonna have decent cap room next summer. Not really a lot of people to spend it on. Yeah, they're gonna lose games now. Kind of too late for them to start tanking. They already feel like this year they've already won too many games. Looking at their roster and looking at what could happen, I still think like a best case scenario is they have like the 8th worst record in the league. Like, yep. You think of all the teams below them that are struggling so much. Maybe in the East the Hornets overtake them. That's it. And then you think about the teams that really struggle over in the West. They're going to stay struggling. The Grizzlies are going to keep getting worse. The Mavs are probably going to keep getting worse. So it's just a really difficult situation in Chicago.
Too little, too late. You chose a direction too late. You chose a direction in the middle of the season when everyone knew what your direction should have been for the last 3 years. So that's why it looks that way. And I think, it's the reactions are appropriate, but the reaction from Chicago is not surprised. And I think John Greenberg from The Athletic said it the best, that this team needed a full reset, including a new front office, coaching staff, and ownership. Instead, it just got a reshuffled roster and promises of brighter days. And that last part is the frustrating piece when you ask front office, is this a rebuild? They don't want to call it a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a phase that they're in. I love Anthony Simons. I don't want him here in Chicago. I want he can be a scorer on a good team. He's not the guy. I love Colin Sexton. Same there. I am curious about Jaden Ivey. I'll end my Chicago Bulls stuff with Jaden Ivey because I think, it's kind of simple for him. We've seen that he developed that shot, and we know what kind of first step he has. We know the athleticism he has. That playmaking he has. And if that is there, boy, that's pretty cool next to Giddey. That's a pretty cool player to put next to Giddey. And the question right now is the injury. He looks a step slower compared to last year, which by all accounts, a distal fibular fracture is something that most athletes should come back from. But was there instability? Is he part of that 20% that maybe does not get fully back to their athletic peak? Maybe. So who is he now? Like, is he really, and are you going to pay him? I'll tell you what, the track record of this front office paying people is not really freaking good. I don't like that. I don't like being in positions to make those decisions because I don't like the people who make them. So it's still some question marks. I think it's still the right direction. The direction wasn't, hey, let's trade some future picks. The best outcome of this was no picks were traded. We gained assets. Not an impressive return, but it's a return, and it was a return you needed. So, golf clap.
Yeah, if you can just find your Nikola Jokic, one of those second round picks, you'll be living on easy street.
They're there. I mean, if you think about it, like on a real question, do you think there's another Nikola Jokic just somewhere in the world? Like when you think about scouts who are just going everywhere, do you think they're there? You just have to find them. It's like mining gold. He's somewhere out there.
Or even a Jalen Brunson. That wouldn't be a bad outcome either. There's always a second round pick. Every few years, one of them really explodes, and maybe with all the those second round picks the Bulls have, maybe they can go find one. Let's hit a few quick hitters that left Chicago, went to other teams. First, Vucevic. I'm really intrigued by that move for him to Boston. They get another big alongside Kata, who's a little bit more of the fit that they had when they went on their championship run. A little bit more like an Al Horford, a little bit more like a Porzingis. Maybe not the defensive piece that those two guys were, but offensively, absolutely.
Yeah. If you like somehow just combine those two players, that'd be cool. I think they should play together. The thing that Boston gets from Vooch is they get a guy who you can put in the middle. You can run some of these athletic wings next to him, and they can cut off of him. You can run some DHO with Brown. Run some nice DHO with Pritch. I think he'll be a great spacer for their screening actions. I think that's something that would really benefit their already potent offense. The tricky thing is, I mean, it was kind of just a nice move. That the real win for the Celtics was ducking under the tax and somehow getting Vooch. That's some financial gymnastics I don't quite understand, to be honest. But that big clap for them. It doesn't fix anything, and they didn't necessarily need that, but I think my bigger question for them was just offensive center presence. Now, a pretty ironic statement for a guy who has been really exposed at times in the playoffs, but still, to have a veteran presence down the stretch, the rebounding's there. It gives them optionality on offense, and defensively, you know what you get. I mean, you have a lot of on-ball pressure at the perimeter. You got great on-ball defense, so a little bit less responsibility for him there than it would have been in Chicago. So different situation may make him look a lot better and kind of cover up some of his faults there.
Yeah, and I believe he's expiring, right? So they don't have any committed money to him. So yeah, just take a swing, see what happens. Yeah. And that's Boston's whole season in a nutshell, yeah. And then Kevin Heurter getting another shot at playing on a winner, going over to Detroit. Can he make the impact that they need from him as a shooter?
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are like, hey, he's not really shooting that great this year. He's had a couple like down years here and there. He's not always consistent, but he is a movement shooter and he demands attention. He's not left open. No one's leaving
Mhm.
Kevin Herter open. That's the thing. And it's maybe he's a fake shooter, but defenders are going over screens. You know, when you're bringing about like the like double drag actions, you're bringing them off hammer actions. Like there's no teams that are just like Kevin Herter go shoot that. So it's still an important piece to what they could do there in Detroit for an offense that's been so good. And I mean, imagine the kind of offense the spacing you can create with both him and Robinson on the floor. Because Herter's no like bum on defense. Like he's not an elite defender, but he's not a bum. Like you could play some defense.
Yeah.
So you're not. I don't think you'd become a bad defense there, especially with the way that their wings have played defense. You throw Thompson out there in those lineups, you could survive that. But that would be some pretty cool spacing for Cade up top. You throw those two guys on opposite wings. I mean, the kind of drives that you're getting from Cade already are great, and the kind of offense you can create with two respectable shooters, one very elite shooter is good. So I think it's a good get. I think he makes more sense, and again, tougher. The Pistons fan base is quite divided on this, man. There's
Mm.
a lot of Ivy believers, Ivy truthers who are quite upset that he's gone, but reality is, there's one player that makes more sense for this team. Is it JB's fault that it didn't work out? I don't know. It's tough to say. You just got to do what's best for the team. And right now, it wasn't Ivy, and maybe Herter fits that a little bit more clearer, even if it's not as a primary role.
Yeah, for sure. And just final point on Chicago. I know it's been tough for the last few years, and probably going to be tough for a few more. But
Yeah.
you know what's crazy? When it's been so mid, but they've also had so many memorable moments over the last few years. Like you just think of that giddy shot against the Lakers, like that's gonna stick in the memory. Kevin Herter recreating the Rose like reaction after that game winner. Like
Yeah,
Vucevic had a lot of game winners. Like this
yeah.
for such a mid like era of Chicago Bulls basketball. They got some damn
Dude,
memorable moments.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the DeRozan year. You go back to the 3 months of the Caruso.
Yeah.
That man, I think there's a lot of missed opportunities, and at the end of the day, you look at this team that had moments, and you look at a front office that did not put the right timelines together, did not use assets correctly, and that's how you go from being a mediocre team, staying a mediocre team, and then becoming bad, and at risk of going from bad to mediocre.
Mhm.
Let's look at another team in the East that I think did something interesting. I want to talk about the Wizards. I
Yeah.
want to talk about the Wizards because they're a team that, when they first started making their moves, Bradley Beal, there wasn't that big like, oh, look at their haul. They got all these first round picks. They just kind of did a lot of asset management, like a lot of like similar things. Taking on bad contracts, getting some second round picks, getting expirings, and they're a team that took on bad money, getting picks, tanking correctly, and kind of just tinkering around. And a lot of it looked like a lot of nothing, but it's momentum. And now you come to this point now where you have financial flexibility, you have your young guys, you got your Bilal Koulibalys, you have your Bub Carringtons, and you have a legit guy in Alex Sarr. I mean, I think he's going to be a future All-Star. We haven't talked about him in a minute, but I mean, still scoring well, 70 points per game, second in the league in blocks. He's top 10 percentile and block percentage. I mean, he's going to be a guy who's going to be an All-Star I think he'll be a multi-time All-Star, point blank period. So you have all this now, and you can make a choice. I think my question for you is like, do you think they made the right choice? Is this too much gas for a fire that maybe hasn't quite lit yet? Are they going to flame out? They got Trae Young, they got Anthony Davis, very, very flawed players for different reasons. They have him under contract. We think that Trae is going to get extended this summer. They have Anthony Davis for 2 years. Is this too soon? Did they do this too soon?
I mean, it's easy to say that just because we know, like you said, the flaws of the two players that they went and acquired. But they bought low on both of them. They didn't trade up anything too valuable. They didn't get rid of any of like their young pieces that we were really like believing in being like maybe like the next like stars or legit like rotation pieces for this Wizards team when they're winning. So like I think they they took a calculated risk on both of these two players. Maybe it could turn into something more if they do extend Trae and maybe he's not able to kind of get back to get back to his best. But like with AD, I think it was worth the risk. And like when you look at like the potential like five that we could see next year, when it's Trae Young, Trae Johnson, Koulibaly, Davis, Sarr, what they hope to be a top pick this year. Like there's something there. That's a team that can win basketball games. I get that we don't know. Maybe Anthony Davis never sets foot on the floor for the Wizards. Who actually we don't actually know what's going to happen there. But I can certainly see the vision, and like I'd definitely be super excited to see a defense led by Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr. Like that'd be legit.
Oh yeah, that's the get here. I think is twofold. You get the idea of a defense with AD next to Alex Sarr. Good luck getting to the rim.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck scoring on that duo. And then maybe they say, well, there's Trae Young. We go attack that. But you get an idea of a team that, does Bilal Coulibaly start? I like the defense you've seen from Keyshawn George and the shooting there. You have two wings that I think could really do stuff on both ends. That's a pretty good team around Trae Young. We said it at the beginning of this offseason. Hey, this is the best defense complete team they put around Trae Young. You give a pick and roll two great pick and roll partners for Trae. Maybe great's a little bit excessive for Sarr right now, but I mean AD for sure. And the spacing that you can get from a guy like Keyshawn George, the defense that you can get from Bilal Coulibaly, there's a lot of ways they can cover up for him. That could be really potent starting five next year. And again, the East is always open. You say it all the time. And I think it'll continue to be true next season. You never know like what's going to happen. But I think that they gave themselves a 2-year window to have a look.
Yeah.
Does AD have another couple of years in him? Maybe not. And then that's fine. I think it's just the only piece of this is it's absolutely imperative that they tank this year. They cannot play Trae Young. They cannot play Anthony Davis. This might be the last chance they get, and it's perfect because scouts say that maybe the next 2 years are not so great, which is perfect for my Bulls to start to tank now. But this could be the time. 2 years of not so great drafts, and you're starting. If you believe in your Bilals, in your Bubs, your Will Riley's a little new, but in your Alex Sarrs, you think that okay, next couple years is when they start to at least enter their first stages of their prime. They're starting to really get it, and then maybe they still even get better for the next couple years. So let's see if we can give them a chance to get playoff experience. Hey, maybe we'll be even better. So I think that at a minimum, Trae Young and Anthony Davis give them a foundation of elite players to help them get to the playoffs and get experience. Are they a first-round team, second-round team next year if they're all healthy? Who knows? But the fact that they could even say that is impressive.
Yeah, and like there's a very, very good chance that both of those players are not going to play this year. We know AD, we still don't know if he's actually going to be back at all. Trae, kind of similar, so they're in a good position to tank, and you just hope that win against the Pistons last night is not a sign of things to come for the Wizards.
Yeah. It's really, I think the overview of this though is fascinating because you see a lot of two timeline issues. You see it in the 76ers, it's kind of working nicely. But here it's the reverse, two timelines. They injected, old talent to this young talent, and hey, let's see what happens. I'm really curious to see how this works out. I think it's a fun one for a team that's just been so yearning any playoff action at all, any playoff buzz at all.
Yeah. No, it's been dark days in Washington, so hopefully this is them finally turning a corner. Let's talk about the other Eastern Conference team that made a pretty sizable swing, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They bring in James Harden, Dennis Schroeder, Keon Ellis. They lose Garland, Hunter, Alonzo Ball. I saw the updated odds for the NBA championship. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the third favorites after the Thunder and Nuggets. Are you with that?
Yes. So before the season started, if Garland's healthy, I think I buy them to come out the East. I buy them to be the most talented team in the East to come out the East. Next to the Knicks. Kind of head to head. It's again the same conversation. Proving the playoffs. Garland's not healthy, so you upgrade him with a more productive James Harden. Is he going to produce in the playoffs? I don't know. Can you hunt Harden the same way they hunt Garland? Actually, in different ways, yeah, in different ways. But they're not throwing wings on Harden. Harden's is a decent, strong, stocky defender. He's not going to give up, strong drives to the rim. He'll give up some quick guards around him, but then there's less. It's a slightly different defensive problem to fix that I think they have the tools to do so behind him. I think that this is pretty undeniable upgrade at that position, given Garland's known deficiencies and the fact that he's just been not healthy. So from that perspective, yeah, Keon Ellis. I mean, that's another strong piece to put there defensively, a true 3-and-D type of combo guard that is going to fit nicely next to both of those players. I think that those two upgrades, I mean, it's kind of weird to think that Harden plus Keon Ellis automatically vaults them to like championship type status, but I think I've always believed in Mitchell. I feel like this phase is temporary, so I'm not that surprised, to be fair.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we hear now there's obviously rumors now that Mitchell and Garland didn't like playing with each other, and you start to hear all this stuff once the Drake goes down and all that sort of crap.
I'm sure you heard that from your sources. I'm sure.
And then, you look at the team, and I feel like I would be so much more scared of the Cavs if Evan Mobley was having the year I expected him to have, especially in his offensive growth. That would make me far more fearful of the Cavaliers, and also just knowing that Jared Allen has kind of been a little bit of a flaker when it comes to the playoffs as well. Those are the kind of things that still make me think both the Pistons and the Knicks would be able to handle the Cavs in a 7-game series.
Yeah, the Evan Mobley stuff is weird to me. All growth is non-linear, but you'd think for a player like him it should be. I think we're starting to understand who he is as a player. Not everyone's going to become this juggernaut that we think they can be. The shooting development has been a big bummer. That drop down from 3-point shooting, the drop down in mid-range, not being aggressive in the post. It's just like I don't know what's happening for Evan Mobley, but he's not the guy. He's not the guy we thought he was. I mean, I'd still give it to the Knicks. I'd still give it to the Knicks. I think that they're more competitive. I think they've shown more ups than the Cavs had, and we'll see how things change. Though, I mean, you get a guy like Harden. Harden is a system.
Yeah,
that's the interesting part here too. Is how is he going to fit with what the Cavs have developed here? The Cavs have valued a lot of movements, have valued sharing the ball. How much of this is going to change with Harden on the floor? How many pick and rolls do you want to high pick and rolls are you going to run for Harden? How many times are you going to let him kind of dictate that? That'll be a problem to sort out, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think he is projected to potentially make his debut tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see the impact he has in his team, especially when Evan Mobley comes back. I think he is due back sometime next week. I think he was only due to be out 2 weeks. So I think he's due back soon as well. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what we get and how much we get to see of this Cavs team at their full complement.
Yeah. It's going to be a different look, man. And just thinking about it in particular, like a lot of people are like, Garland's not really producing. Harden is. I know I just said that. But you look at the peak of this offense last year, just envision the moments where, Garland gets a paint touch, it's not there, he rotates around, he gets back to the wing, cycles through another pick and roll, and then he's kicking and he's relocating to the opposite wing. Like that type of movement that you see from Garland when he's at his healthiest is what made him so dangerous, is that he's really dynamic off the ball and with the ball. And he got to that point last year, and you're not going to get there from Harden. If Mitchell's cooking, Harden's hanging out.
Yeah,
I'll space out over here. I'll get that long rebound. Okay, I'll get back. Like, there's not going to be whole lot from him on that end that you got from Garland. So that's something I would look out for, because that's not peak Cavs basketball that we saw last year.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. It's definitely a change. As much as like the numbers are probably kind of similar in terms of the like playmaking and actual overall scoring, it's definitely going to be a change, and it's going to be interesting to see a guy like Harden playing with a guy like Donovan Mitchell. Last kind of interesting move, I guess, with the last of the moves that made by a big team in the East was Knicks. They didn't go get Giannis, like I know that you wanted, but they did go get Jose Alvarado. Grand Theft Alvarado is coming home to play for the New York Knicks, and it's it's just a nice move.
Dude, like I texted you, man, like just for the culture, bro, having a Puerto Rican in a Knicks uniform is gonna be fun, man. That's gonna be a good time. But yeah, I did not realize that McCain's injury was going to possibly sideline him for the rest of the regular season. Huge loss. There's so many moments where he is like just keeping the Knicks around. Like, they just go through this lull. Yeah. You throw in Deuce, and he just comes up with these ridiculous shots. I think his shot difficulty is great. Jose is going to bring a little bit different type of vibe. He's not quite as dynamic of a pull-up shooter as McBride, but the defense for sure going to bring that same level of on-ball intensity. That full court press, I hope they let him do that. That's some fun stuff that you get from him that you don't get everywhere. But he'll be fun in Knicks jersey for sure.
We've got that irritant. That's just a nice little element to add. Like, I know Josh Hart has a little bit of that, but Jose Alvarado is a whole nother beast when it comes to that. And you're just like, I think him and Hart will definitely vibe straight off the bat. I'm just interested to see like the little impacts that he's going to be able to make, and like it's important that thankfully we have Landry Shamet playing as well as he's playing, that we're not going to hopefully miss the offensive deuce as much with a guy like Shamet, and hopefully Clarkson can get back into the rotation as well. And then we know like Alvarado's biggest calling card is his defense, and that's where he's going to have the biggest impact, and it's going to be good. And like, just smart low value move. They got in Terry for Yabusele and moved him, and I think was it 2 second-round picks to get Alvarado in. Like, just smart business from the Knicks, and you keep moving forward. A guy that's not going to change everything for them, but not really going to hurt them in any way either.
Yeah, I don't know how you convince the Bull. I guess he plays the 4 or 5, so the Bulls are like, okay, we'll take on another year of Yabu Shitty.
At least he had a guard. At least he's had a guard.
What an audition he had in France. We're like, even I was like, oh, he's back.
Yeah, even like he was good in Philly. I was excited when the Knicks signed him. And then like it just hasn't been anything close to good in New York. It's been ugly as hell. But like let's stay on the Knicks. They were our team of the week. They've won 8 straight games. We've seen them dismantle the Blazers. They've seen them take care of the Lakers. They had that obviously easy win against the Wizards, and then they obviously won that absolute thriller against the Denver Nuggets in double OT on Thursday. My God, it's been interesting, and the best thing I've seen from this is just the adjustments. We've really seen Mike Brown's ability as a coach. The adjustments we've seen him make in game throughout this run have been really impressive.
Yeah, it helps when you hit shots too.
That's really helpful, yes.
The team is shooting,
and when you play the Nets and the Wizards and stuff like that also helps.
That's kind of helpful. Shooting 41% from 3 as a team is pretty helpful. But the vibe definitely felt different. The one thing I honed in over this time was Cat. You know, amongst more trade rumors, I mean, his whole thing is, well, I'm sad because Giannis trades last summer, and then we're like, hey, I think we might trade for Giannis. How has he fared over this stretch of winning for the Knicks?
Good, not great. Continues to be great rebounding. His rebounding has not dropped off at all. His rebounding has been huge for us. This offensively, a bit hit and miss. He was obviously like really pissing me off in that Denver game, just making ridiculous fouls that never needed to be made in a million years. where he tried to cost us. I know McHale gave up the ultimate foul that led to the double OT.
That was not a foul.
But Cat was the one who put us into the bonus because he made a ridiculous offensive foul on the other end. So like he's still just such a frustrating figure. Yeah. But hopefully now he can stop being a baby, really lock in. Once that shot starts dropping again, that's when we know that Cat is back. And hopefully that can happen now where there's going to be no more rumors. But, Cat's obviously very sensitive, so who knows?
Yeah, I think the slump is exactly what it needs to be looked at. It's a slump. He'll get out of it. It's going to happen. He's one of the best big shooters of all time, if not the best. There's no way this is just... Karl Anthony Towns didn't wake up and stop being a good shooter. Like, it will come back. And it's good to see him. Like, what the big overview is that he is still who he is, and what he's done is made up for it on the boards. Like, he's attacked the boards, he's been aggressive on the boards, he's been game-changing on the boards. And that really bruising identity on the boards has been led by Cat, has been led by Mitch Robinson. But, I mean, dude, the thing that I needed to bring up was the switch on to Jamal Murray by Mitch. Oh, my gosh. I mean, like, It's that makes you think of the playoffs. You're like, hey, that guy in the playoffs is so good, and it's those moments, man. Like the fact that he's going to control the boards the way he does, and just comes off the bench, turns the tides on the boards. He'll get you like 3 more chances offensively, and then he'll switch out onto your guard's best creator, and just suffocate him at 28 feet. Like, come on, that's incredible.
No, it's so funny that you brought that up. I thought you were going to bring up when Cat switched out onto Jamal Murray and just swiped across his arm for absolutely no reason. I thought that's what you were going for there. But
what a great contrast! Yeah, that's the tale of the two players, man. And
Mitch, like that was great. He had a similar sort of play that he did on Jokic out there as well, which was like really impressive. Like the impact that he can have on this team is endless. And like the Knicks over this 8-game win streak, they're plus 178 in terms of scoring differential. They have a 99.8 defensive rating, which is absolutely insane. Like they've really locked in on that end of the floor. They've made the adjustments. Like against the Lakers, they really came out in that third quarter and it looked like a completely different team and just completely took the game away from LA on Sunday night. And like I keep saying, the impact of Landry Shamet cannot be overstated enough. I mean, he's shooting 52% from deep over this run. 5 times he's hit double digits. Like the other night against Denver, he came up with some clutch shooting. Like he's had such a great impact on the team. I'm so glad they kept him around because we saw the flashes last year, but of course Tibbs didn't really want to commit to him, and now we're really seeing the best of Landry Shamet's entire career right now.
Yeah. How do you feel about Brunson as a whole in terms of how the offense has flowed through him and around him? Does it feel a little bit more smooth this year compared to last year as we're honing in on this team? Does the Mike Brown version of this Jalen Brunson-led offense feel like it's a little more egalitarian? There's a little more opportunity for others next to Brunson?
Yeah, like that like in a nutshell, the big thing that we were kind of talking about with Mike Brown coming in is like, yeah, we're going to have Brunson and we're going to use him when we need him, but we need to not need him as much as we have been needing him under Tibbs. And that's exactly what has been the case on this run. Like he's only, before the Nuggets game, he was only averaging about 21 points per game during this run. And Anunoby was also up there in terms of scoring. Cat was up there in terms of scoring. Like it was a far more spread out. And I think that was what the ultimate goal for this team is to have Brunson there, have that elite scorer. When he needs to be that guy, he'll be that guy. And we needed him to be that guy against Denver. And he took over for us and dropped 40 and got us that win. But in the other games, they haven't needed as much from him. And other guys have stepped up. Like OG was our top scorer against the Lakers. It's been a far more spread offense. Other people are getting opportunities. And I think that's the ultimate goal for this team is have Brunson there for when we need him, but don't need him as much as we have in the past.
Yeah. And I think the very simple stat that I look at, is the passes per game, and I think I feel it. I just feel it when I look at this team. There's a lot more instead of Jalen Brunson just probing. All right, let me reset. Let me get the ball back. Let me probe. There's a lot more possessions where he gives us the ball a little bit earlier. You get a little Josh Hart action. You got McHale. I do want to see more from McHale. That's one takeaway I had from these last 8 games. But the movement on the perimeter, the fact that you have more people trying to get in the paint besides Brunson, they're not just standing still waiting for him to create something. They've had 315 passes per game, which is 5th in the NBA compared to 18th last season. They've definitely made a jump, and it feels like a more vibrant half-court offensive set than what it was last year. So for all the question marks around Brown, I think that the dynamic movement and passing has definitely been something I've noticed this season.
I obviously had my doubts. I had my doubts that run they were on to begin the year, to end last year and to start this year. It was ugly. It was really ugly. But I think we see the players kind of took a look at themselves. And I assume Mike Brown probably took a little bit of a look at himself as well, and they've managed to figure it out. I'm not going to say they're going to win every game now until the end of the season. They obviously go up against the Pistons tonight. That'll be a very difficult game on the road as well. So this is a real good litmus test of the level that the Knicks are playing at right now. Hopefully everyone will be out there. I'm not sure what the story is with Josh Hart. He did roll his ankle against the Wizards. Not sure if he'll be back for tonight. Hopefully Mitch will still be good to go despite playing the double overtime on Wednesday. I hope we are at our full complement tonight so we can really take on and really get a good judgment of where the Knicks are at going up against the Pistons.
Yeah.
Pistons on the second night of a back-to-back too, which that could hopefully help us a bit.
So what you're telling me is the panic is over. We're okay. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I'm feeling the panic is over because... Obviously, the offense, like you said, the shots started going down again, and the defense is locked in, which is great.
Yeah. To close out the Knicks, I'd like to talk about your rival real quick, and a team that we didn't really touch on because I think that they didn't do too much. But the Pacers kind of did a little of a thing. Are you scared about Ivica Zubac in a Pacers uniform next year as Halliburton comes back?
It's. I mean, obviously, I'm just terrified of the Pacers as a whole. Yeah, like full stop. Halliburton, is in my nightmares forever. We know that that's the case, and yeah, like I keep on saying, the fact that every time the Knicks miss a free throw, I literally go into a panic. Like that's just my feelings now after that game 1 of last year. It's gonna be interesting because obviously a huge part of them was the spacing that Turner provides, so it's going to be interesting to see with Halliburton playing with a more traditional big. I'm very intrigued to see what sort of impact a guy like Zubac has on this team, and if they play the exact same way, and how he kind of adjusts, and how the Pacers kind of adjust with Zubac as the lead guy.
Yeah. Do a little fast break.
Yeah, what do you got, man?
Bigger loser who did nothing at the deadline. Miami Heat or Houston Rockets?
I gotta say the Miami Heat.
Okay. Who is the best player in a New England Pelicans uniform?
A New Orleans Pelicans, you mean? You're too locked in on the Patriots right now.
What did I say?
You said New England.
Oh. Drake May. Who is the best
player on the Pelicans? I guess Trey Murphy. You see those 12 triples he hit the other night?
That's shock, dude. That little step back he's got going, the pull up. This man is not a catch and shoot. This is not just a 3-and-D player, people. He's still getting better. What else do I got? Who is the worst international player right now?
Who is the worst international player right now?
And why is it Gershon Yabusele?
I mean, I guess it's whoever plays for the Bulls, right? Well, they just got rid of an international player that's actually pretty good, so that's not the case. So yeah, Yabu, yeah.
Sorry, I don't know why. I don't know why I'm giving him so many strays. I'm just not very excited for that. we traded for a guy with another year.
He'll be gone. He'll be gone. He'll be gone soon. Don't worry.
Next, what team needs Cam Thomas the most?
That's a really interesting one, and I think the two of us kind of had a similar reaction. It feels like it's the Orlando Magic.
It's possible. I'm changing my answer.
Okay, hit me.
The Bucks. The Bucks have told us, we just need Kevin Porter Jr. to be healthy. We just need him to be healthy. Kevin Porter Jr. It's all on Kevin Porter. I'm looking forward to. We just need Cam Thomas and Kevin Porter Jr. to gel. Just give it time. A bummer for Cam. Looking at his stats this year, he actually has gotten less efficient with less shots. The opposite direction that we wanted him to go. We'll see. New home. Maybe we'll give him a better environment. The direction the Nets are taking definitely is away from him. Do you, sir, have any fast breaks?
I don't think so. I feel like we've kind of hit everywhere that we needed to hit. Any other trades? No.
Does Ja Morant stay a Memphis Grizzly through the rest of his contract?
I'm gonna say no. I feel like surely the Miami Heat panic when they can't get Giannis and just go and get Ja Morant. Surely that goes down.
Interesting.
That feels like an area that's something that it could evolve into. But yeah, man, it's just an interesting time of year. The trade deadline, we got a lot of interesting moves. It's gonna be interesting to see the impact. And I'll just straight up, I'll ask actually one thing. We already discussed this earlier on. You talked about being exciting. Do you think Jaden Ivey could still be the guy for Chicago, or just a guy on Chicago?
Those are two totally different questions, Ronan. How am I supposed to answer that?
What do you think is a more likely outcome? Would you want all three? Bust,
a spectrum.
Role player, star.
Role player.
Okay.
I think it'll be a role player. And again, the exciting thing for Bulls fans, you get to hope. You get to hope. Look, you got Josh Gideon here. He was old news in OKC. Look, this guy can't do this, that, and the third. Been pretty good this year. Been pretty darn good. Maybe this guy next to Giddey, it makes sense. That pairing makes sense. Don't think about the future. Don't think about their flaws and how this won't lead to a championship in the future, even though that's what AK wants you to think. Just think about how fun. Look at those dunks. Hopefully he starts to dunk again. But I think high level role player is how I see Jaden Ivey, with a ever so closing, like Indiana Jones level, like cave is closing up. The ball is rolling behind you. You're barely able to run out, and maybe you get out. And Jaden Ivey's still a star, because that's there. That's possible. That athleticism, the improved shot, the quickness, but running out of time.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, final word on the pod today is that free agent Mike Conley is returning to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's news has just been revealed right there.
No way. What? That can't be allowed. I don't think that's legal.
I don't know.
What, an advisor just to hang out?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what he was doing before, right? So I mean, I guess maybe that's if are they like, oh, don't worry, like he's just going to be the Udonis Haslem of our team. They're probably like, okay, yeah, fair enough. He can come on back. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's episode. Obviously, wild time of year. Trade deadline. Moves have been made. Let's see the impact that they have. Knicks, let's make it 9 in a row tonight. Bulls, we're so sorry, but it is what it is. Remember, we're everywhere on social media at Coast to Coast NBA. And most importantly, remember to take every shot and love every moment.
Peace out.